Joe, the bookies didn't see that coming, did you?
No, not at all. I think, in the last 4 Test matches we've played against South Africa, it's mostly been 1-score margins, maybe 2-score, and I think the score flattered us a little bit. We scored the bulk of those points in that last 12 or 13 minutes. Until then, the game was in the balance. I think we went a bit flat. The whole game went a bit flat in that third quarter, and we're disappointed with that. But at the same time, they had to put themselves back in the game, where we had a 14-0 lead, and then it went to 17-3 and stayed there for quite a while. So I think both teams will look back and certainly have things they'll look to work on a little bit for the next couple of weeks and beyond.
What kind of squad are you picking from against Fiji?
Well, to be honest, we'll see how we come through tonight. We only had Pete O'Mahony. He got a bit of a whack, and his ear was a little bit torn. He's fine. It was just a bit of blood mostly, but it gave us an opportunity to give him a bit of a rest. So we'll see how he recovers. But I think everyone else pretty well came through okay. So it's probably going to give us an opportunity to mix the team up a little bit, try to keep a bit of experience, but at the same time offer a little bit more opportunity, because we got a few guys out there today that will hopefully benefit from the experience and learn from it and build upon it for the next time they get an opportunity.
Springbok rugby seems to be going backwards. Why do you think that is?
I think in the changing room the players physically wouldn't say it's going backwards. They certainly felt that it was physical enough. I guess the margins in Test match rugby tend to be exaggerated sometimes. You only have to look back 3 games ago. They got beaten by the All Blacks by 50 plus, and then the next time I think the All Blacks would admit they're probably lucky to beat them. They got Rieko Ioane intercepting on the 22, going the length when it looked like the Springbok might score. It was a 1-point loss when they could so easily have won that game. So, we would be naive to think that the next time we play the Springbok, there's a 35-point margin between us, because that's just not reality.
But Joe, is it bad for global rugby, 60 points, 30 points to Ireland, that the Springboks are shipping these kind of defeats? Bad for the game?
I don't think it's bad for the game. I mean, 2 years ago we were told there was a massive crevice in between Southern Hemisphere rugby and Northern Hemisphere rugby, and I think Australia are the only Southern Hemisphere team that won so far today. I know the All Blacks are playing France as we speak, so I think we have an advantage when they come up here. This is our home patch, and we haven't lost too often here in Dublin over the last certainly 4 or 5 years. So we'd like to extend that as long as we can, and we want to make it as tough for teams coming up here as we possibly can. So I think other Southern Hemisphere teams get to the end of the season at this stage. They've started their pre-season in December, and I do think it is offering us a little bit of an advantage, because I felt we looked fresher out there. We looked like we had a little bit more energy, and that's an advantage.
Joe, are you happy with the performances of Ian Henderson and CJ Standard? Both of them had big enough games. Happy enough with how they're doing? Yeah,
their numbers are impressive, but also the way they delivered their numbers was really impressive, and on both sides of the ball. CJ obviously got onto the ball pretty well a couple of times. Couldn't always stay on it, but got some good ones, and he carried with that. I think it was a bit of a return to form for CJ. He's been a little bit quiet so far this season, and he really ramped up his energy today, and showed some pretty good footwork carrying as well. And Ian Henderson was he was big, and I know when he broke the tackle of Etzebeth at one stage, he would have felt pretty pleased about that. But I'm sure both of them will look back and find a couple of things that they need to keep working on at the same time.
Rory, Rory, you know Jacob Stockdale pretty well, I guess. It seems like everything that's put in front of him, he just gobbles it up and keeps going.
Yeah, he's doing really well. He definitely grew into the game as it went on, and look, it's tough coming in your first start at home against one of the big Southern Hemisphere teams. I'm sure he was nervous, but yeah, look, he grew into the game well. And I think probably what at the minute is impressive with him is that last year is relatively easy for him because he broke in, nobody knows much about him. Does he kick? Does he run? Does he step? And now people know a lot more about him, so he has to work on his game and make sure he keeps improving. And so far he's done that. He's got a few things wrong. It's been pointed out to him over the last couple of weeks, but it's not a case of getting things wrong and it's the worst in the world. It's how you deal with that and how you make sure that doesn't happen again. And so far he's doing that, which is good to see.
Rory, talk through your defensive approach, and the line speed seems to be a real focus.
It's something that since Faz came in that he's pushed really hard. To try to be attack them when they have the ball, and to make sure that we can get off the line and that we can put teams under pressure. We know how good Yanchis is if you give him time and space, and it was something that we wanted to shut down. And look, everyone's buying into it, and I think to get that, first of all, you need to have good tackles, good two-man tackles, then making smart decisions, not going for lost causes in there and getting numbers on feet. And I think by and large we were smart in there in our defence. Like everything, there's always room for improvement, but yeah, it is a focus for us, and it's something that we work hard on, and to get to that in a game is something we can be reasonably happy with.